Oh,
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Huddle on Wednesday. So I'm just loving my snowman jokes these days. So y'all are just gonna have to bear with me. I mean, it's a stressful time with like holidays and family. So what do snowmen do when things get heated? They take a chill pill. We might need to learn from snowman. Take a chill pill. I do love my snowman jokes.
oh, that's a good shot of humor in the morning.
Oh, Kara's not even here to laugh at me. I mean, with me. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Huddle on Wednesdays, where we talk about everything related to communications and relationships, because we know that better communication creates better relationships, better families, better communities, and better businesses. And Tara is not here today, so I am solo. And before we dive into our question, which is how can claiming your superpower create deeper relationships? We're going to ask a few questions to get us here and grounded and present. And Andrea, I would love to start with you. I want to know, how are you and who are you going to hug today?
I am the way I say I am, Kathryn, and today I'm productive.
Ooh,
And
love
I'm
that.
going to hug myself first and continuing to hug my daughters who are here.
Yay. Benefit of the holidays. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for the reminder of self-love.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom, I would like to know, where are you and what are you grateful for?
Well, Kathryn, I am right here where I need to be. And I am grateful for this opportunity to start the day with reflection and growth.
Nice, lovely. I'm glad you're here. And Chase, I would love to final question to go to you. What time is it?
The time is absolutely right now.
That's right. It's right now. We're right here. All right, we're going to dive into this question of how can claiming your superpower create deeper relationships? And this is going to be a little bit of a vulnerable huddle for me. I love everything about the daily huddle. I love the people. I love meeting new people, seeing new people. I love getting to know people either through our live events or the retreats that Tara and I do. And I love the community of people, the community of hosts. There's one thing I really don't like. I might even venture to say hate, but I don't like that word. So I'm going to say I really, really, really don't like it. And it is hosting the daily huddle alone. Now, it's vulnerable because that's what I'm doing today, number one. And two, that's what I'm supposed to be good at, right? I mean, I'm up here, supposedly the expert, if you will, hosting the huddle, but I really, really don't love it. And a few months ago, Tara was going to be away, and I decided to challenge myself to host it alone. And I hated it. It was awful. I don't know what the experience was for folks on the other side, but my experience was miserable. I was anxious. The anxiety and the stress were far disproportionate to the experience. I do this every week. You would think that it would be fine. Was not fine. I got done with that. It took me 3 days to recover, and I told Tara I will never ever do that again. And begged her, please do not ever surprise me with you're going to be away. I need to know far enough in advance so that I can get a host. Here we are, December 20th, and I am hosting alone yet again. She gave me plenty of advance notice, but I procrastinated and procrastinated. And so Friday, I started to feel that anxious, panicky feeling welling up in my throat again, AKA vomit. So as the weekend wore on, I kept telling myself and trying to figure this out, like, come on, I can do this. What's the question? Oh my gosh, the hours I spent mulling this over, writing about it. What am I going to do? And finally, through a conversation with Tara, realized what it is. This is not my jam. Like speaking to a small group of people that I'm meant to engage with, just speaking to them like a monologue, it's not my gig. And so all this time I keep thinking like, Tara does it. Can I just do it? Come on, Kathryn, just do it. Like she does a great job when she's alone. Like it's fine. But it's just not my gig. I'm a coach. I'm like trained to ask questions. And so how can we create deeper relationships through our superpower? Well, my superpower, one of them is asking questions. And by realizing that doing this alone and just speaking a monologue is not my gig, it allowed me to be myself and to free up all this angst about trying to do something that I'm not good at. Or better yet, I don't know if I'm good at it or not. It doesn't matter. That feels awful. And Tara and I've talked about that a lot on here, like when we do our retreats, and she was like, you're really zen and I'm going to try and be like you. And she's really fiery cracker. And it never worked. And when we realized it and we just owned who we were, it really worked. And so this is going to be a little bit of a huddle because I am not going to sit up here for the next 20 minutes and talk to you about things that I think I know a lot about. I'm going to engage a few of you and get to know you a little bit more and do the thing that I love to do best. But before I do, I wanted to say a couple of things that I did learn through this process. One, I hate hosting alone. Two, have any of you all heard of the like the learning zone or the growth zone, that concept? It's like there's concentric circles. And in the center of it is your comfort zone. It's where you feel safe, comfortable, things are easy, all good. And then the outer circle, the one beyond that, is your learning and growth zone. Some call it your stretch zone. And that's where things, you don't know everything. It's a little bit difficult, but you're excited, you're challenged, you're growing a bit. And yeah, that's really exciting. And then beyond that is the panic zone. It's when you freak out, you freeze, you're overwhelmed, you're stressed, scared, terrified. And that's where I was several months ago when I was trying to host alone. I thought I was in my growth zone. I thought I was stretching myself. I don't just get a host or a guest. It's so easy to do that. Like, let's grow a little bit. But actually, I threw myself into the panic zone. And I say that because through this experience, I learned it's really important to know where we are in those. Like different situations can put us in those different zones at different times. And if we don't know it, then it's really hard to navigate. For instance, if I'm in the panic zone, I'm not going to be my best. None of us are, your nervous system is shot, you're overworked, you're overwhelmed. So I think it's really important to know yourself and this goes back to our superpower. It's like, what am I really good at? How can I claim that, do that, and maybe stretch myself and grow a little bit? Because I think sometimes when we start to grow, we might be saying, oh, I'm just uncomfortable. I don't really want to do this thing. And we have to know that about ourselves. So know thyself, I think, is the bottom line of that. And just to mention those things. And the second thing is, I did a Google search about claiming your superpower, because I always think it's funny when you like have a question like that and you throw it out to the internet. Like it's kind of woo-woo and it's kind of specific, but it's also kind of general. And I always get something interesting back. So I did get something interesting back, just a really generic, have no idea, I think it's on LinkedIn, but it said our superpowers allow us to see, hear, know, express, and create things that other people can't, or just have to work really hard to achieve. And I think that's the thing. I was working so hard to figure out how to be like Tara and do this thing alone. And that's not my superpower. So I mentioned that because I want to talk a little bit about too, when we go to this next part, about how do we know what our superpower is? And in the same article, it says, listen to what people say about you. Like, you're so good at this. And people often say, like, you ask such good questions. And I'm like, doesn't everybody ask questions? Like, seriously, you have to ask questions, like at some point. But mine are a little different, right? They're powerful questions. They're, et cetera, et cetera. And so it is the superpower of mine. So notice what people are saying about you, especially if you think, oh, that's not really me. It's the water we swim in. A fish doesn't know it's a good swimmer. It's just swimming along doing his thing, you know? So, yeah. So, and again, I just want to highlight this piece about being authentic and being ourselves. Like, first, you have to know yourself, and then to say, no matter how difficult, I'm not going to do that because that's not me. I'm going to claim who I am, what my superpower is, and I'm not going to make it wrong. So, all right. See, what are we, like 5 minutes in, and I'm already like tapped out at this whole monologue thing. I'm like starting to sweat. All right, so we're going to shift a little bit and we'll see how this goes. I think it's going to be fun. I'm going to ask a couple of questions. And Andrea, I'm so glad to see you here because I did think, I was like, I really hope Andrea is here. I want to ask her a couple of questions. So I want to ask you, what is your superpower? What do people most often say about you that you're like, huh? One of them. We all have many.
Yeah, people, and actually, I think this is inspired by something that Gio told me once, is the power of organization, organizational, logistical stuff, like organizing either thoughts, files, processes. So I think organizational power is something I'm proud of, and Gio made me think about it, and I'm owning it.
I love it. Really good at organizational. How does that serve you in your life?
My brain is a little bit more organized. I'm able to put things in compartments, so it helps me. It helps my environment. I like to have an environment that is clean, so I can think less and just meaning of things that are not important and focusing the energy on things that matter.
Mhm.
That helps me. And I think it does not help that much my people surround me, because I'm all the time like, come on, let's get this room organized. But I think in the end goal, it'll help us have a better community. Long term, I like having an organized planet like Earth. Like, it will be amazing if we as a humanity are able to be more organized and have things, I don't know, where they belong.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I have a friend who says outer order brings inner delight.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think what like our outer environment reflects what's going on in our head. I know that's true for me. I'm all messy, like my outside is messy. Yeah. I love that. And when's the time do you think that that's really I'm imagining for your clients that really helps to transform? Tell me a time when that's happened.
With my clients, I think that when I'm able to not only coach them, but in the consulting process, allow them to see that frameworks will help them organize better their thoughts and make more profit. It's all about making money. When I help people organize their thoughts and their processes, it's tied to making money. So when I'm able to show them, hey, with a repeatable process, or something that you put in place and you have compartment and organization, you're actually making more money. You're working less and you're making more money. So that is how I've been able to help my clients.
The way you describe it is organized. It's like I can see it really clearly. That's beautiful. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love hearing that. Thanks. My mind is working because it's like I could so see how you could work with someone, because you're probably really great with a super creative person who doesn't have any of that. Like as a team, you would be like.
And I'm able to, even though I love to talk, I'm an introvert, so I like to absorb things, and I'm able to listen what they need and then repeat it back to them. This is what I've heard you said, just reorganized in a different way.
That's great. Brilliant. Thank you, Andrea.
Thanks.
All right, I'm looking at Gio. Gio, I would love to hear what you have to say about your superpower.
I was just thinking, what is my superpower? It's hard. It's really hard. I haven't asked others what is my superpower. I can't quite look, but I think that the symbol, the analogy of a dog that doesn't let go the bone, like won't let go. And so when I when I read the quote from Einstein, I'm not a genius. I just stay with the problem longer than most people. And I think that's my superpower. I stay with it until something gets revealed, and I grow in the process. And I say, there's no magic. Just stick around as long as it needs to. I think that's my thing.
I can see that in you. I'd love for anybody who knows Gio to say what they see him to be really good at. But I can tell you what I see in you. You name what's in the room. You name the uncomfortable thing that nobody wants to say, that everybody knows is there. And through that, you reveal, like you help, I don't know what that is, like you help uncover or reveal something for some purpose, for a better purpose. Does that land for you at all?
Completely.
Mm.
I would say that's a trained superpower. Yes. So I do that as a result of what I do. But I would say that, but even among my peers, that comes easy for me.
Okay.
Reveal the unsaid, that liberates people.
I feel like when's a time where that absolutely transformed the world, your world, the world, space, person?
When is a time? It does it regularly. It does it regularly.
Really?
Yes, because whether it's in my business or in my personal life, there's always something that needs to be said that once it is said, it liberates people to say what they really feel. And so I do, it's really cool that you actually point to that. I do make an effort to think consciously, what do I need to say here that liberates the space? What is it that is not being said that is holding on to, that we're all holding on to? And yeah, that is it. I think it's something very useful in my life. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing, especially the liberation piece, because we often talk about the way you show up invites other people to show up that way. And so what you're saying is, because I show up to try and liberate the space, it liberates other people to be able to like say the thing and get moving. Yeah. Love that. See, and that terrifies me in many ways. Like to do that, to say that thing that's really uncomfortable, like it's like, woo, like I don't know. For me, for me to do it. So it's interesting. It comes so naturally to you and you're kind of looking when to do it. I think that's always the interesting thing, how different people are. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
What else do you have to say about superpowers? What's the thing that needs to be said here and now?
Dr. Joy has her hand up.
See that? We're going to get to her in just a second, but I wanted to hear from you one more thing, which is...
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said who else. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Like what else do you have to say about superpowers? Like, what is the thing that you want to say about superpowers? Like you even using this gift to liberate the space now, like what is the thing about superpowers for you?
I think there is your question. I really frame it for me. I'm really framing it in what I am, not what it comes natural for me to do, and what it comes, and there's something that comes natural. It's not. I don't know that there's anything that comes natural without practice, really, that I care about, that I really care about. But the thing that I do practice a lot, and now it is a natural aspect of myself, is a bit of what your superpower is to ask questions that get people freed up from what's been holding them up to do what they care about. And it's not sort of my superpower now, but it has been a practice year after year after year as a trainer that now allows me to see what's the question that one needs to engage with and how to engage it. The question that opens up people.
Right.
And opens me up.
Yeah.
And
I love that. I think that could be a topic for another day. It's like, can you train your superpower? You know, is there something innately in you just waiting to be, you know, birthed or grown? Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, and I do feel very inclined to say my superpower has only showed up as a result of hours of training.
Hmm.
Before it was kind of like a gut thing, like,
Mhm.
oh, I
Mhm.
I care about people and I really want to know what they are feeling and I really want, but without training, I stayed in the emotion for many years.
Right. Well, I love that. I'm going to table that for a future topic because I think that's brilliant. Can we train our superpower? How do we train our superpower? Thank you, Gio. I love that. Dr. Joy,
Thank
I
you.
would love to hear from you. And also would love to hear from anybody else of what's coming up for them and around this topic. Dr. Joy.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I was thinking to myself, and I put it in the chat, how I feel like my superpower, one of them, that I have taken it for granted throughout my life. And um, this idea of whether or not our superpowers are natural or not, I feel like some are natural, and then some, like you said, Geo, can be honed and developed. And I think that yeah, that's something that I think. And I think that sometimes circumstances can help you realize the power that you have taken for granted. So one of the superpowers that I realized I had, that really people started talking about, particularly during the pandemic, when we
Mhm.
all started going online and doing a lot of Zoom, doing a lot
Yep.
of conference calls, is people constantly kept saying, "Oh my gosh, Joy, your voice is so soothing. It's so soothing. Oh my gosh, I can talk to you all day. Oh my gosh, just stay on the line. Just talk to me, Joy." And
So your superpower is your
and
voice.
so, but then I thought, okay, well, maybe this is a gift, maybe like during times of anxiety and stress, maybe people want to feel soothed. They want to um feel calm, and it's nothing I honed. I didn't go to school for it. I didn't go to training for it. And that's why I was saying I think sometimes we have superpowers that affect people and we take them for granted, don't pay any attention, but
Yep.
other people do. Other people really
Right.
pay attention to them.
Yes. How has the world changed? How has your world changed since you started claiming it? You said in the chat that you used to take it for granted, but now you own it. So what's changed for you since you started owning it?
I think I um I'm I am an academic,
Okay.
and I have had some people say, "Hey, when you speak, you have to speak like this and you have to speak with authority." And
You can be
and
soothing if you're academic.
that's, well, it's speaking in that way doesn't necessarily resonate with me. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel
Mhm.
natural. And in the past, I've um had some students write in evaluations, "Oh, her voice is so breathy. It makes me fall asleep. She makes me feel sleepy," or, "Oh, I can't take her seriously because of her voice." But I think because now that I own it, I I don't feel a need to speak in a way that make others feel more comfortable, or to speak in
Oh,
a way that might be more aligned to other people in the room. So that's what I
I
mean
love
by
that.
own it.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
I was picking up from you because I was also trying to relate it to my experience, even just in doing this, is like it becomes more fun. I mean, let's be honest, when we're ourselves, things become more fun. They become more easier. So I think that's what I hear you saying is that you're like, whatever, like they're gonna think that, and I'm gonna just enjoy this because this is who I am. I love that.
Yes,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
sharing. Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. I think that you're bringing such an important point. Tom, yes.
Kathryn, good morning. Listening to Geo talk and Dr. Joy, it and I think Dr. Joy was saying it right there toward the end, there can be a flip side to our superpower. So if we don't know ourselves well enough, like with Geo talking, I imagine there's plenty of times where he's trying to liberate the space. It can create discomfort for some people. So if
That's for me
Geo,
before.
yeah, if he doesn't know himself well enough as to what his superpower is and have the confidence behind that, I could see that he might back off of that, either be inauthentic or avoid the superpower. And I think similarly here in Dr. Joy talk, if she's getting some feedback that her speaking style doesn't work for some people, then she may back off of that, which would be a shame, because the superpower does have, really, really good effect, as she's been, seeing and hearing. So I think that's what I'm, hearing, that picking up on that recognition that if we really don't appreciate what it is and don't know ourselves well enough for how to be authentic, there can be a tendency to back off.
I think you're right. You're bringing a really good point I hadn't thought of, but there's like a dark side and a light side to everything. And so the light side, to your point about Geo, is that, yeah, it opens a space, it liberates a space, or it can be, really jarring for people and might cause harm if he's in a bad place or not claiming it, or like, let me speak about me. I'll stop picking on you, Geo. For my questions, when I'm in in my highest self and I'm really curious and I really do want to know, it's like, oh, open-ended questions, space to answer. I process the response. When I'm not, it might feel like a firing squad. Like it is peppering questions, trying to get an answer, and my tone changes. I would really like to know this, and it doesn't go very well. So I think you're right. I think it's important to know, and also have our intention set for what is it? Yeah. How am I being and how am I using this? Just like Gia said, I want to liberate the space. What's the question I can ask right now to be able to do that?
And I think what you're also calling out, Kathryn, is if we're not fully authentic, then we may be trying to lead with our superpower, but it's not landing well, or we're not really attuned to how others are reacting to it. We could still be in our superpower, but be mindful of how others are receiving it. And so if we're picking up that it's not landing well for other people, we can still be authentic and use the superpower, but just some basic conversational skills, help people appreciate that, you're just simply being genuine, and you can help recover, in that situation.
Reading the room, I think, is what you're talking about, like reading the rooms, people's reactions, emotional intelligence. And I think, when we, again, I hadn't really thought about that, but when we think about how do you recover from that, you've just done that. I've just asked all these questions and all of a sudden, and for me, it's when you name what's in the room. And that's that vulnerability. And that goes back to, I would just say, if I realized I was doing it, read the room. Oh, wow, this is not landing well. Shoot, I'm really nervous. I'm really frustrated. I'm sorry that came across wrong. And just naming what's in the room. And I think so often for me, I don't know how others are like this, but I'll try and put on a show about it and try to be somebody I'm not, like to have it all figured out or put together. And people don't connect with that. They resonate when people are vulnerable, when we're connecting with other people, and when we're claiming who we are. And thank you, Tom. It's a beautiful segue to wrapping this up, which is, by the way, this was fun. I was not super anxious. It was super fun because it is what I do. And I just shifted to oh, I love this. And so it's a testament to claim your superpower, know who you are, be authentic. It allows us to, yes, create deeper relationships. I already feel more connected, and I want to acknowledge what's in the chat. Thank you, Andrea. Chase, thank you for your kind words. I already feel more connected to this group, even though we're just on Zoom. I was more connected to Tara and the conversations about it. So absolutely, claiming your superpower can help create deeper relationships. And so through that, I'm going to close us out by saying, use that to love yourself, love who you are with no judgment, with just curiosity. Don't make it wrong. And laugh out loud, laugh when you fail, laugh when you make mistakes, laugh at my snowman jokes, and eat more plants, get your sleep, get your rest, love that body, give of all of your gifts, everything that you have. And I always have to look because I always forget one, but this time I didn't. My favorite last one is move your body, move what your mama gave you and your daddy and the universe. Love you all. Thank you so much for being with us today. We will see you next time.
All right. Thank you, Kathryn.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
This is great. This is
Yeah.
great.
Amen. Power.